Hello folks, nice to see you guys again. Sorry it took a little longer this time, but we had to wait for a particular reason. We've heard for almost a year about the twin Supertech towers in Noida. To be demolished or not, finally the Supreme Court last year said they have to be demolished because of illegality. The order of the Allahabad High Court from 2014 or so was perfectly correct and legitimate. After that, of course, the companies concerned, especially the demolition people, they studied the whole building to understand how it is to come down quickly without spilling onto any other land. Now, once they did it, what happens next? You see, the principle behind this demolition is so important that I hope we don't lose sight of it at any time. And the principle is this. Noida comes into the state of Uttar Pradesh. And I think we know that Yogi Adityanath ji's government has said, and in very clear terms, zero tolerance towards illegalities and criminal activities. And as far as they're concerned, this is an illegal construction. And the whole country is full of these things. And here's where they put their foot down and said, thus far and no further. Now let's go into the details. You see, these towers, one is 97 meters high, the other is 102 meters high. They required 3,700 kilograms of explosives put in particular places, in correct places, to bring the structure down. That's 3.7 tons of explosive. Once it was in place, everything ready, and the demolition was carried out, it took 9 seconds for this structure to come to earth. Now this is a very significant time lag. Remember it for a little later on. Now what did it prove? It proves, one, Yogi ji's government has proven or begun to prove clearly that there is zero tolerance for illegal construction. It sends a very clear message to all builders, not only to builders, but also the administration officials, that look, the government will not tolerate this sort of behavior or this sort of activity. What does it mean to the builder? In this case, the cost of construction of these two towers was about 500 crores, which is not a small amount. Plus, they have had to pay for the demolition work. We don't know exactly how much that is or what it's going to be. Plus, and here's the other thing, all those who invested in these two towers, that money has to be refunded with interest. That's a huge hit which the builder has to take. Now, okay, one can argue that the builders have made a lot of money over the years, because this particular company and its offshoots have put up something like 70,000 houses. So, okay, they might be able to take it. But now what happens? People are going to be wary of this particular company. The trust they built up over about 40 years has begun to wane a little, and people will think 10 times before coming into an agreement with these folk. Now, so far, one finds that it's the private man who's always blamed. The private trade bears the brunt of all punishment, which is, in most cases, only half the job or half the battle. The battle against corruption means not just the private man who gives the bribe to get these things passed so that he can construct and make a killing. But the government officials who gave the clearances, all those who signed, they are being taken to task because already 26 officials of Noida administration that is, have been booked. And hopefully action will be taken against them also. How? Well, let's see what happens. But this is a big step in the right direction because both parties involved in shaking hands over this deal are being brought to book. Usually you find that only one side gets the book thrown at them and the other side gets away with a little sort of slap on the wrist that says don't do it again. Here, hopefully, full course of action will be taken against both sides. Which, as we said before, Yogi Ji's Uttar Pradesh government, having said loud and clear, zero tolerance, they're showing that they mean it. It's not just lip service, but they mean it. Which is a very, very welcome sight for all of us. Now, please remember what I said. It took 9 seconds for it to come down. The whole world saw this. Cast your minds back to my videos, if you saw them. But you can't see them anymore because YouTube took them off. Now, if you look at many YouTube videos about 9/11, which happened in 2001 in New York, those towers 1 and 2 are 1,300 feet above the ground. And yet, as the authorities there would have us believe, no explosives were used. And yet, those buildings came down 1,300 feet in 10 seconds. How is this possible? Do the laws of physics operate under different circumstances in New York as opposed to Noida and UP or just outside Delhi? Remember that acceleration due to gravity is 32 feet per second squared or 981 centimeters per second squared. Two objects, varying weights if you like, dropped starting from scratch or starting from rest, will take the same amount of time to get down to earth. So how come 1,300 feet in 10 seconds? 330 feet in 9 seconds. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. Unless the laws of physics, as I said, operate in different ways. Even though they may be the same law. Is it because, as I said, acceleration due to gravity, does it work much faster in the US than it does here? Somehow I don't think so. So, all explanations about 9/11 are meaningless. This knocks a big hole in their arguments, one which they can never fill. But what I am really pleased about is a big step towards ending corruption in the biggest state in India. If it can be done there, why can't it be done in other states? Other states claim but do nothing. Here not only does he say it, he means it and he takes action. He started with the criminal mafia, now the builders mafia. They're under notice. As now for once, even the administration officials, they're under notice. You mess about, you're out. And if you're fired by the government, try finding anything anywhere else. Now folks, that was the gist of this particular video. Because if it can be done in the biggest state in India, Why can it not be done in all other states? All our politicians, both central and state governments, keep telling us, we're against corruption, we're going to do this, that and the other, but they take absolutely no action whatsoever. If anything, they make it worse. For the first time, we've come across something, and it has hit the private man hardest, where it hurts him most, deep in his pockets. Plus, government officials, who are so pliable, are now going to have to think 10 or 20 times before they indulge in such activities, because they never know who's looking over their shoulder. So you see, it is possible, provided you have an administration which goes around with a great big thick stick and is not scared of using that thick stick against errant people. Wherever you find such a government, give it a helping hand. If not, do remember, whatever corruption that takes place, you are directly responsible. So don't moan about it if you're not prepared to do anything about it. This is in direct contrast to what's been happening in Delhi, where the government itself goes into a thoroughly illegal and anti-national activities. And this happens in many states, which I'm hoping will be the next video. Thanks for watching, folks. If you like, please press the like button and the subscribe button. That way you keep getting these regularly. I'm sorry to make you wait, but I think it was worth it. Bye.